and if we can get up there in time, we'll get to see a really cool sunset over the city. And based on the elevation change, I think we're headed the right direction. That's where we're headed. Alright, so this is our second day in Chefchaouen, and our...
This looks cool.
Yeah?
Yeah, because it's like the background. You should hold it up though.
Hold it up higher, like about here?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, look at that.
Cool. So yeah, this is our second day in Chefchaouen, and we were going to get up nice and early in order to go and take some really cool photos. Chefchaouen is known, it's the blue city, so it's known for having all sorts of really cool alleyways. It's just a very picturesque little town, and so it's very well known on Instagram and Facebook and whatnot. So we were going to go out and get some photos bright and early. That didn't work out. It's now 11 o'clock. But you know what? We have all day today to explore, so I'm sure that we'll find some nice little spots to take photos. If we have to wait for people to kind of walk by to get our spot, then, you know, we're in no rush, so that's okay. So we're just getting ready now. We just went downstairs to get breakfast to start. So far, every hotel that we've stayed at has had a breakfast that's been included. We were saying that if you were gluten-free, it would be very, very difficult to travel around Morocco, because in the morning they really don't have a whole lot of protein, and they certainly don't have any vegetables. It's mostly just like... Oh, I remember what else I was gonna say. It is a small city, so there really isn't a whole lot of place. Like, it's very hard to get lost. But to help us on our journey of photo capturing, I've downloaded maps.me and I've taken screenshots of all the little nooks and crannies where people have said are really great places to take photos. So that way, while we're out walking around, we don't need any service, and we can hopefully try and find those little alleys that are hidden away, the little hidden gems. So after we're done doing some photos today, there's a mosque up on a hill. It's about a 45-minute walk, and we're going to head up there and try and get some really cool photos of the town at sunset. That's at the mosque, so we're going to go get that picture too. Exactly that one. Get a hurry. Whatever your name is. We're going to go steal your photo idea.
If you've ever planned a trip to Morocco and you know what Pinterest or Instagram is, then you've probably seen the gorgeous blue-tinged streets of Chefchaouen, aptly known as the Blue City. Chefchaouen is an incredible little city nestled amongst the Rif Mountains of northern Morocco. It's an extremely popular tourist spot, and it's easy to see why. Aesthetics aside, Chefchaouen is bustling with street vendors selling everything from hob spread, spices, and fruit, to blankets and clothing. Despite its population of 42,000 people and the labyrinth of streets, Chefchaouen somehow feels like a small town, and we found the locals extremely welcoming and friendly when asking for directions. The big question everyone has is, why is the town blue? Well, we asked many locals and researched it to death and came up with, well, we aren't exactly sure. The most convincing theory is that it was painted blue by Jewish people who settled there from Spain, and that it symbolizes the sky and heaven. Another theory we heard is that it keeps mosquitoes away. And finally, we heard that it was simply mandated to be painted blue in order to attract tourists. Whether it's none, one, or a mix of these theories, the Blue City is truly spectacular and a utopia for photographers. There are several famous photo locations and numerous hidden jewels, so I recommend you slap on a wide angle and go exploring. Even still, there are some incredible spots that are just way too easy to miss, so I'm going to show you an efficient way to find all the high-yield spots in one easy route. Okay, so I'm going to reference all my directions from the Kasbah. It's an easy-to-see centralized landmark, and it's right out front of the Plaza Uta El Aman, lined with restaurants which you can't miss. First up, the White Mosque. Head northwest from the main square towards the Blue Street. Yes, I know all the streets are blue, but this one's actually called the Blue Street. And it's about a 5-minute walk if you don't get lost. We actually didn't realize this was a popular photo spot until after the fact, but we did manage to snap a photo of this cool little door right nearby. The blue street is actually your next destination, or rather a tiny alley about 30 meters from the mosque. It's easy to miss, but during the day there's a fresh orange juice stand just adjacent to the entrance.
Thank you so much.
We happened upon the next spot by accident. We'll call it Rue ELBARYA. Head north towards Avenue Hassan about 50 meters and you'll find this cute staircase. I can't promise there will be laundry out hanging, but it was quite a little spot to snap a few photos. Next is CALLEJON El ASRI, and it's probably the most famous photo spot in Chefchaouen. Follow Avenue Hassan another 50 meters east and you'll spot the brightly painted hanging planters. This intersection is busy and you might have to wait your turn for a photo, but the wait is well worth it. CALLE SIDI BUCHUKA is probably the next most Insta-famous spot in Chefchaouen. Head further east and you'll find the painted stones and beautiful tiles just off the main street. Next I have a couple honorable mentions. Way off to the east is a paid set put together by one of the locals. It's only about 5 Moroccan dirham to snap a couple photos, and whoever put it together has done a really nice job. Finally, Place Aouta is a quiet little square with a water fountain near the center of the Medina. It's not as blue as the previous spots, but it's equally as picturesque. A final word before you head off is that although the locals of Chefchaouen are well accustomed to people taking photos, just remember that these photos are often outside people's homes and even of people's homes, so be respectful. Try not to get any photos of the locals unless you ask permission, and if they ask you to leave, there are a ton of other spots that you can go to get some incredible photos. With that said, we only ever had positive interactions.
So, right now we are on a hike to go find a really great lookout. And if we can get up there in time, we'll get to see a really cool sunset over the city. And based on the elevation change, I think we're headed the right direction.
A final must-do in Chefchaouen is the hike up to its famous lookout. If you thought Chefchaouen looked good close up, you need to see it from afar. The trailhead starts at the outskirts of town and it's only about a 25-minute walk to the top. Just head towards the white mosque in the distance. It can get really busy, so go early if you want to snag a good spot to watch the sunset, and you can use the extra time to set up the perfect camera angle. Or if you're really brave, I've heard that sunrise is just as good and far less busy.
We were told that the hike was going to be 45 minutes and it was actually about 25, but it's a really good thing we got there early because since then, I don't know if you can see, but there's a lot of people up there. So now we just came down to check out the goats and then back up to the top and probably gonna do a time lapse. So this is the call to prayer right now, and it sounds really cool echoing through the mountains.
After the sunset today, we went out to the top-rated restaurant in Chefchaouen called Café Clock. It was delicious. We all had a really nice meal. Lindsay tried camel for the first time, so that was pretty cool.
Kind of tasted like cow.
Then we found our way home, and we are gonna get ready for bed because it's 11:30, and we have to meet tomorrow at 8:30 to leave to make our way to Meknes for lunch, and tomorrow's another busy day that ends in Fes. So we'll talk to you on day 5.